Welcome to the Rock is George podcast. I'm your host, George Dionne, and this is episode 78. Thank you for tuning into the podcast through our website, rockisgeorge.com, or on our YouTube page, or through one of the many podcasting streaming services, or at theloudest.com on the planet, knac.com. My guests for this episode are Lisa Bodnar and DANN ARAQUE of Lisa Bodnar and Whistlegrass. They have a brand new album coming out on October 28th. It's called 40 Years in the Desert. It's being released through Deko Entertainment. This is Lisa's third studio album, and I had a chance to preview it ahead of the release, and it's a nice little slice of Americana music, a little bit of everything in one little package. So here's Lisa Bodnar and DANN ARAQUE of Lisa Bodnar and Whistlegrass. If I knew absolutely nothing about Lisa Bodnar and Whistlegrass, how would you describe the music to me?
It's multi-genre music. I can say we bend genres because we cover so many different styles.
So many different feels, yeah. But it's all, Lisa's the songwriter. She's the one who comes up with the lyrics and the music, and some songs we work on together, but it's all basically viewed from like a folk song in a sense, with but then we try to take it and we like to go and try putting it forth in different types of genres. So we'll do some songs like in
maybe a waltz.
Some songs will be a little maybe on the countryside, some will be on the
like a punk side or a rock side.
Yeah, punk songs. There's a little bit of everything. Some British rock, some old school, just basic soul. I mean, we try to meld everything, but still keep the same voice.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely hear those influences on your upcoming album, 40 Years in the Desert. It comes out October 28th through Deko Entertainment. This is your third studio album, Lisa, but it's the first with Whistlegrass. So let's kind of clear up, who exactly is Whistlegrass?
Whistlegrass is a culmination of talent, and DANN ARAQUE, of course, is the main Whistlegrass member, and Whistlegrass in New York. I was living in actually Jersey City, and got to know a lot of really amazing musicians out there, and they are part of this album. Charlie Buckland on bass, amazing bassist, and on drums, incredible drummer Jesse Wallace. And that's our main rhythm section in Whistlegrass on our album. And we also have a couple of other really neat artists that joined us.
Chris Jones on the pedal steel, Matt Gorky on the cello on Slip Away.
Yeah.
But most of it was recorded, the last album, this one that we just finished, mostly just Lisa and I doing most of the recording, except for some of those songs that we mentioned that have the other members on it. But our live band is a little bit different. We have a lot of different interesting Lehigh Valley musicians, really great. Chris Cummings on the drums, who's been played with everyone, and it's a great drummer.
Sean Kavanaugh on bass, who's just also another incredible Lehigh Valley bassist. And a recent addition, Dan Chellis, has been playing keys. I've been stepping out in the front a little bit more. So he's been taking over a lot of the keys for me. And sometimes we'll do a back and forth.
A little nod to the Grateful Dead, a little jamming going on.
Little piano duel.
Yeah.
Dueling pianos, that's what I wanted to say, yes. And then we also have a really neat backup singer, Jess Corbin, who's been joining us too in our last couple gigs. It's been fun. And she also plays some accordion on a lot of the songs, which is a neat addition.
Let's talk a little bit about the singles that you've released so far, if you want to kind of tell what inspired the song The Best That I Can.
Just looking back at life, and just how, things don't always go the way you planned, but you just have to keep on keeping on, really doing the best that you can. And, even with the ups and downs.
And it was a song that came out pretty, some songs, you take a lot of massaging to get, to be right. This one was one that kind of really just flowed right from the start when I was just playing this lick and Lisa just came in and she heard it, and right away it was just like the whole song was basically written all like in just one sitting.
Yeah.
Which doesn't happen all the time, but that was one that really just came out.
Yeah, even some of the lyrics, like I'm not really sure where they came from. It kind of like dog-eared pages in the book of Job. I'm cleansing my conscience in a hotel robe. I mean, it's like, it really, something was trying to come out. It was definitely a healing song, and because it just really, really flowed.
The music video features famous spots for your hometown, Allentown, Pennsylvania. Right. You're kind of into the whole hometown thing when it comes to your music, and certainly this video.
Definitely, most definitely.
Yeah, we just moved back here because we spent some time up in New York and New Jersey and New York, and just kind of moved back here and just getting back to regrouping with all our friends and getting out and playing more here. And also it's part of like the new writing of the new songs that are going to be out in the next album that's already in process.
Yeah, I just think it was neat to just embrace being back home. And, I wasn't even really planning to move back to Allentown. I'll be honest with you. But looking around, and it just seemed like a natural place to be. I mean, you think about with music, you can end up in Nashville or head out to LA, or, Savannah, or even down in Muscle Shoals, Alabama. We were looking down there. It's a neat, of course, the music down in Muscle Shoals is well known for all the history, and that was an attractive place. But looked at Allentown, and Allentown is really becoming a real neat culture spot, and there's a lot of great musicians here, and it ended up being a great place, and wanted to celebrate being back home. So that first video is definitely a nod to all the places that I've spent time growing up.
The newest single is out right now. It's She Kneels. If you want to talk a little bit about that song.
Well, it's definitely an introspective song. Definitely recounts a time when I was in love, and it wasn't the love affair ended, and I didn't want it to end. I'll be honest, and it just kind of recounts those feelings, and just really putting my heart out there and being vulnerable and fighting for that love. And it's really just recounting those feelings, and just knowing that even though that won't work out, there's something possibly around the corner. So
there's another song in the album that I really enjoyed. It was called Feeding Time, and it kind of seems to me that it's about the industry and kind of how the darker side of the industry is. So I'm assuming this was kind of based on your experience in the industry or someone else you know.
It's a combination of things. There's a lot of stories that are in Feeding Time that could relate to a lot of different situations. And the song is very personal for me, because it really involves a lot of people who have really done things that I never would think possible. But I think it's because they go to like that more base animalistic side, I don't know, of just survival of the fittest. And it was hard to believe when these events were happening, but I really kind of summed it up in that song, how I really felt about why they did what they did, because it was just human nature, I guess.
And an interesting thing with that song, production wise, it started off as actually a bluegrass song. And then the studio version, one time we were recording part of this up in upstate New York. We were kind of not feeling the feel of that, and we just immediately just put this whole other version of it up there, and it kind of it really touched us, just the way how it felt and the whole emotion that was being created.
Yeah.
And we thought it lent to telling the story in a more positive or upbeat way. So
Yeah, and also where we recorded it, upstate New York, it was partially we were outdoors, so it was this incredible studio, Mario Salvati's studio. There was a garage door that was open, so we can actually hear the crickets and all the wildlife outside while we were recording the song, and you can even hear some of that when you listen to the song. You can hear the outdoors. So we kept it. So it's neat.
So, Dan, how did you meet Lisa and decide to make music together?
well, we actually met after Lisa had finished recording her first album, and she was looking for musicians to go on tour with that album. So she had met a friend of mine who we were in a band up in New York together. That band had just broken up, and so he actually introduced her and said, "I know a couple guys." So basically, the rhythm section of that band, well, the guitars, bass, and drums, came down to Pennsylvania, started playing with Lisa, and that's how we met.
Yeah, it was
It
pretty
was from that
incredible.
first album, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the guys would drive down from New York City down to Easton, Pennsylvania, and we recorded in a studio on the river and rehearsed there, and it was neat. It was a great group of guys.
The album's title, 40 Years in the Desert, is inspired by a trip you took to Joshua Tree National Park.
Yes.
Is there a story behind that?
I was just overcome by its beauty, and just to see, we were in the desert walking around, and it was, a desert's really like dry and desolate looking, but then we came upon this cholla cactus garden, and they look like these little creatures, and they were super cute. There's a lot. We have a booklet in the CD. You can see some pictures of the cactus garden, and I just fell in love with these cactus creatures, and it just really shows that you can, even though you're living in a place where it's desolate and dry and barren, like you can still find a way to thrive. And those cactuses really thrived, and they were super cute, and they just had something really aesthetically beautiful about them.
And also, as small as they are and how cute they are, they're still fierce. I mean, you touch one of those and you're gonna have a long time taking out all those little pricks,
Yeah, I did. I actually like touched one, and I was like, no, like, what did I just do? And I heard people like have actually grabbed them and like, spent time in like an emergency room as they like tried to pull them out of their hands. So yeah, to Dan's comment, like small but mighty and fierce, and just, so I could kind of relate to those cholla cactus. So that was where 40 Years in the Desert came from.
You guys signed to Deko Entertainment to release the album. How did your signing go about?
They found out about us through Dan DeCellis is actually on our label, our piano, one of the gentlemen that's now playing piano with us. And they found out about us, hearing about some gigs that Dan was playing on. And they learned that we have this new album that we're about to release, and we were about to release it independently earlier this year. And they said, "Oh, we'd love to talk with you guys. We like your music." And then one thing led to another, and here we are. And they're an amazing group of people, and we were super lucky that we got this opportunity to work with them. So shout out to everybody, Charlie and Bruce and everybody over at Deko. We're really excited to be a part of that family. So it's been amazing.
It's a great roster that they have over there too. They got the Bouchard brothers from Blue Oyster
Mm,
Cult. They got
yes.
Yeah.
pop star Tiffany. They got Dave Bickler from Survivor. You got a lot of big acts over there.
Yes, it's really neat.
Michael Lockwood
Yeah, Michael Lockwood.
I mean,
Huge fan of Michael.
did all of he did the Amy Mann, some of the early stuff. You
Yeah.
know,
He's
Getting back to the whole Allentown, Pennsylvania, and kind of you embracing it, you have this PA 67 tour that's running from 2022 to 2023. This is a statewide community outreach type of tour. If you want to kind of describe that a little more detail.
Sure. Well, it's looking more now. It's going to be happening in 2023. We were hoping to be already on the road in 2022, but with the pandemic and also funding with the state, we were looking forward to receiving some state funding for the arts to help us to do this tour, and that did not happen after they negotiated the budgets. It was that was cut from the budget. So we're right now in the process of looking for sponsors to help us do this tour. Why do you ask? Or do we need sponsors for this tour? Well, the tour is going to be going to each county in Pennsylvania, all 67 counties, and doing a fundraising concert for each community. So we provide this concert, and then a nonprofit organization receives all the ticket proceeds. So it's something that we really feel strongly about doing. I don't know if you know some of my background. My house was destroyed by floods, years ago, and I really was overwhelmed by the community outreach to all the people in our community who had a lot of damage to our homes. And I just wanted to give back to the community. And, we've been doing a lot of different benefits through the years with the band. And we just had this idea a couple of years ago to do this outreach tour. We started in 2020 and then the pandemic happened. So we started actually in Punxsutawney, and
on Groundhog Day.
So that was like our kickoff of our tour. And then
Everything
the
got
pandemic, shut everything down. So we have been, working on getting back out there, and we thought we were going to be heading out there in 2022, but it did not work out. Unfortunately, we were pretty deflated about it. But we are still getting it together. We're talking to some sponsors right now, and hopefully we'll be making an announcement about who all the sponsors are and when the first concert's going to be in 2023. So anyone who wants to sponsor the tour, give me a call or send me an email, and we'd be happy to talk with you. But it's a super exciting tour, and we're really excited to help Pennsylvania communities in need. So
Are you planning to do any like one-off shows outside this fundraising tour or anything outside of Pennsylvania?
Oh yeah, we have we're going to be doing some shows. We just booked the Roxy Theater here in the Lehigh Valley, which is a wonderful theater. We'll be playing there on November 4th. And I have some other things that I'm working on. So yeah, we're definitely gonna be doing some other shows.
Your parents are both violin players, and you decided to take the piano. I'm guessing that this was your way to rebel against your parents.
Yeah, they are super supportive of music. I mean, that's how they met. They met in the orchestra in high school. Super sweet, and they come to all of our concerts, no matter where they are. They're like the most supportive individuals like ever when it comes to music. So I just talked to some people who were at the last show that we did over at the Civic. It was one of the last shows we did at the Civic Theater in Allentown. They're like, yeah, your parents came up to us and introduced themselves. Like, they're really into the music and really into supporting us. So it's super neat.
Is your family musicians, or are you the only one?
Yeah, my whole family actually my sister's also a musician, and she married my sister's a saxophone player, and she met her husband, who's a fellow jazz saxophonist. So, and he's also played with us before. He's actually incredible. Dan actually, he comes from a musical family too.
And my mom was a music teacher. I'm really blessed to be able to grow up, and every summer it was like, what instrument would you like to learn? And so we went through everything we could, everything that we could get our hands on. So that was I was very blessed. And she said the only thing that really was almost a tipping point was when I was playing the drums, because she said that was just a little too much.
Dan, have you played with any other bands, or has it always been with Lisa?
Pretty much recently with Lisa, yeah. Prior, I played in New York City, a band called Ash Tuesday, another band called Another Silent Day. But mostly I've been just working with Lisa and been recording here.
But touring isn't new to Dan. He's been touring since he was a kid. So
yeah, I've played in bands since
And he's not from the New York or Allentown area.
I'm from South America. I'm from Ecuador.
Okay.
Yeah, I was born in Quito, up in the Andes Mountains.
All right.
So I came to college. I came to the States for college, and my mom is American and my dad's from Ecuador. So we grew up always speaking both languages and coming to the States to visit our American side of the family. And I was very fortunate, very blessed to be able to see the world and how different cultures and different people, work, think, and that also helps, I think, add to the music, because we have a wide range.
It really does, because there's a lot of music. There's a lot of bands that I've never heard of that Dan brought to my, to me, and the same thing with a lot of bands that I've listened to that he didn't grow up listening to. So we can really. We have a lot of music that's inspired us, and it's been really neat to explore that.
You mentioned that you guys are currently working on the next album, even though this one hasn't even come out yet. So, is it going to be sort of along the same lines as sort of a melting pot of music?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we write all the time, and now it's exciting having this other album wrapped up. And it's kind of, doing its thing right now, being released, and now we can just focus on recording and just really seeing what these songs, where they want to go. And we're going to speed this process up.
We have a lot of songs that are completed, but a lot of it is finding where they shine a little bit, I guess, better. And it could be we're trying to do a song in in a jazz style, and then it's like, well, it might sound better if we do it in a heavy metal style. Not that we've done that, but that's the fun part, is once you have the song written, it's like, how does it shine? Because it's more about, you work for the song, how to get it to really come out and sound as best as it can.
Well, you got to work that heavy metal angle, because those are most of the bands that I've interviewed over the years. I actually started out doing the heavy metal hard rock thing, and then I'm like, I kind of want to talk to people that do different styles of music. But if you want to do metal, I'm down for it.
All right, yeah,
that's good. No,
maybe some King's X type,
I like that.
Get those harmonies in there. And
I interviewed Jerry last week, actually.
Oh wow, that new album's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. So, what kind have you guys played with other kind of established acts out there? Have you opened for them, or have they opened for you? Or?
Right before the pandemic, we actually opened twice for Vapors of Morphine. Remember the band Morphine?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent band, and we did a couple shows with them at the Mercury Lounge in New York City. So that was a lot of fun. We've played a lot of festivals, with other groups like the Indigo Girls and the Badleys. We've played some shows with them here in Allentown. That was a fun thing. I know they're back on tour right now, which is neat. And just local and some national acts.
Yeah, and we've been fortunate enough, like on the last album, which we recorded in New York City, we had the horn section from the Conan O'Brien show. So we did a show in New York with Mark Pender, came up on stage and just sat in with us, and we've had a lot of good fun times.
Yeah, we've been really fortunate to work with some really amazing talent on the last couple albums. So it's been really blessed.
Well, those are all the questions I have for you today, Lisa and Dan. And the new album is 40 Years in the Desert. It comes out October 28th on Deko Entertainment. And I wish you the best of luck with it.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank
really
you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for taking the time just to talk to us, and we really appreciate you.
No, thank you for taking the time. I always like I said, I like to get out of that hard rock and metal zone and kind of experience new music and different type of musicians.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Once again, I want to thank Lisa Bodnar and Dan Araquue of Whistlegrass for coming on the Rock is George podcast. Be sure to check out their latest album, 40 Years in the Desert. It'll be out on October 28th. If you want to preview some singles now, you can on your favorite music streaming app. If you like what you hear, make sure you buy a physical copy. Support the artist. For all things Lisa Bodnar and Whistlegrass, head over to lisabodnar.com. I also want to thank Chip at Chipster PR for making this interview possible. You've been great. I've been George Dionne. I'll see you again soon.